Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The boys are back in town. Kyle Umlang, top right, and my man Travis Skull, also known as Travis J. Davidson, down below. He's having a good time. Boys, we relaxed and feeling good tonight?
Always.
Absolutely. Although Kyle, I know you do your Friday night beers. Do you ever have Thursday night beers, Wednesday night beers?
Yeah, it's Thursday now.
There we
My
go.
man. I will be.
No, Fridays are for the cool new ones that I find.
I got you. Well, yeah. I will be drinking something in honor of you two this evening. So obviously you guys are on my social media quite often. I bet you could guess what I'm going to be drinking, but we'll let people get into it a little bit more before I
something neat.
Something neat. Yeah, I will say, man, you know, you're doing a good job with that whole thing. We don't have to talk about it or what it's called, but it's a cool idea. I'll give it to you. You're welcome to plug if plug your brand any way you want, plug your beverage, whatever you want to call it. It's a cool idea. I'll give it to you. So go ahead, take your opportunity there, brother.
Yeah, well, I will pour up.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
horns down, apple pie. For those of you that can read backwards, it is. So when everybody in the Lone Star State was trying to steal Skip Johnson from us, I kind of called on a lot of local businesses to help bolster OU's, NIL funds, right? And this company had already been planning, on doing, they already had Horns Down Fine Spirits. They had already started distilling, but they were like, well, we can give to it. That's a good cause. So anyways, they give 10% of their national sales to OU baseball NIL directly. So this one is an apple pie tailgating cocktail, they call it. It's made with red apples, green apples. There's no cinnamon or anything like that in it. It's not a fireball, anything. But just a good old corn liquor. And they're coming out with a whiskey and a vodka
nice.
Early in the spring. So cheers, my Longhorn friends, to a fun and I don't know, playful rivalry. That's what we'll call it.
We could call it that. Well, there you go. You Sooners out there, if anyone was watching, I mean, that's a pretty cool bottle. If I was repping the other side of this whole rivalry, it's probably a must-have for me. So y'all go help support. I will say this, Travis knows this. I am a bit of an OU baseball fan at the moment. Skip Johnson played a big part in my development as a player growing up. So it hurts to say, but yeah, go buy a bottle. Go help out Skip. Go help out the Sooners a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it works down. I mean, it works perfectly because both sides of the rivalry can buy it. Like if you're a Sooner and you got Texas family, Texas friends, that's like the perfect gift for them.
Great point. Yeah.
Well, and that's what's great for with you doing the the A&M facts, right? The Aggie facts. It's like these are great. Yeah, Texas gifts. But what they're going to do is they're going to go to Texas games and tailgate there and sell to, I think the state of Florida is bringing it in next. The state of Georgia is bringing it in after that. So it's Texas hate is a big market. Texas hate.
I know it's so much fun. Everyone loves it.
You would literally get sales from Baylor fans, Aggies, love everywhere in Texas would buy that. I mean, that's a great idea. Good for y'all. Did you have any hand or part in the name, or was that
I
little over your head?
Behind it, helping push it and whatnot, but a lot of people think I'm involved, but really I was just blessed that they kind of answered the call, that I put out there for companies to get more involved in NIL, because it helps them, right? Like saying they'll give to baseball NIL will help sell them bottles. So it's like,
absolutely,
you're not coming out behind on any of this, right? So So I've always been kind of a give back kind of guy. I actually, in my restaurant, I had I had what we called the give back burger. So, as a business owner, you get hit up for donations all the time, right? And worthy causes, right? Like good causes. Where it's like, man, like the problem is if you're not careful, you'll donate yourself straight out of business. So, anyways, what I did was I would partner with a different charity every month, and I would make up like a signature burger for that month for them. And then anybody who ordered that burger for that month would $2 of that burger would then go to that charity. So it wasn't, I didn't have to say no. I basically had to say, hey, look, you can get on the list for the give back burger. But it was great because, people got to learn about the charity because they did like table tents and whatnot for the whole month. I would go on the local news, the local CBS affiliate, and cook it live on live television, and like got some notoriety out. So like that was the thing. Like, I always want to give back, but want to do it in a way that kind of helps everybody. So.
Absolutely, man. I think you're doing great work. Big respect for you. You know this. If there's a Sooner fan you're going to follow out there on Twitter, check this guy out, Texas fans. He does good work. He's a very, very, very good at getting under a few of you guys' skin. But once you know that,
some people make it too easy, bro.
Oh, you're damn right.
Which our fans do too. So I mean, it is what it is.
All groups have those fans.
Yeah. Absolutely, it doesn't take much. And I do have a question for you, Kyle, about some Twitter chirping. But before we get to that, I want you to tell the viewers, what was your Ann Arbor experience, brother? Talk to me about everything that you went through. I need the emotions, all of it.
It was glorious. So that venue is really, really unique because it does not look like there's 100,000 people in there. Like when the game was starting, I looked around, I was like, there's no way there's 100,000. And then when then the cheering when we missed the first field goal, I'm like, this is definitely 100 plus. This is insane. And luckily they didn't get that loud the rest of the time, but it was pretty impressive just how loud it was in there. Loved it. Did some tailgating before. Met some peeps. Went to College game day for a little bit. Saw Saban. He was really close. I got really close to him. I could smell him. And
what does it smell like?
Oatmeal cream pies. And
you met Stallions too, right?
Oh yeah. He just randomly, some guy was like, "Hey, I think that Stein's behind. I'm gonna get his picture." I'm like, "Okay," and then
that's awesome. That was one of the first pictures I feel like I saw on the timeline. Was you and Connor Stallions? So, small world.
Yeah, had lots of beers, lots of good food. Yeah, it was great. We led the whole time. Did better than I thought. Well, not better than I thought. Just we did what I thought. So that makes me happy when that happens.
What was the whole vibe with the Michigan crowd before and then during?
Before there were these guys who were obviously like probably sophomores, juniors, right behind us, and just giving us shit just before the game started, and we're like, okay, just wait till third quarter. You won't be doing anymore, and we let them talk their shit because Natty, gotta let them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then by third quarter they were just kind of sitting down and just watching like this. Everyone else was standing, and it was fun. But I didn't get any aggressive like Texas Tech type behavior. They were all pretty respectable.
Pretty cat. Yeah. Okay, good to know. I've heard that from most people. Everybody said pretty good things about up there. I've tried to collect any and all stories and details from everyone that went because I was very sad to not go. Did you see Peyton's Instagram post about the text message that the guy in front of her who's just like, oogling over Texas. I don't know if you saw this, Travis. Let me find the text from her. But some Michigan fan basically. There it is. Peyton's behind this guy who's texting, and he's holding his phone up, so she screenshotted it. And the guy's texting it, or the buddy texts her first and says, "Texas looks like they're playing Southern Illinois University." And then he texts him again and says, "Okay, I'm going to be more humble going forward." And so this guy is in the middle of a response, and he's saying, "Sark is the brains. Every play is different. Easy throws and good D." And it's just like, it feels so good to look at things like that, knowing some of the times we've been gone. But Yeah, most people have had the same reports from Ann Arbor. You know, fans were better than we've experienced before, and they didn't. Pretty quiet there after that. But I will say this: that first drive, man, like even through the TV, like it was damn loud on that first drive.
It was insane.
That first third down that we converted, it was really nice to hear like such a massive roar pre-snap, and they got really quiet, and you could hear the faint roar from the Texas side. But yeah, overall, I'm sure it was a 10 out of 10 experience. Really cool place, the big house, great program.
It's been on my bucket list for years, so I'm glad I got to knock that one off.
You thinking about Ohio State next year?
For sure, going to that one.
What was that, Trav?
Hopefully they don't cancel our series and we can go up there. Like anytime there's realignment rumors going on, I just get scared about that kind of stuff because, you know,
y'all in Georgia.
You know, obviously really want the Michigan series. You know what cracks me up is everybody's like, I'm so proud of Texas for always scheduling tough non-cons. I'm like, bro, that's been OU's thing forever. Like back in the day,
Tulane. Tulsa.
But we were scheduling when I was in school there, we had a home and away with Miami.
Yeah, obviously, that's pretty legit.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Nebraska,
Alabama under Stoops.
There were
Florida State.
The Florida State Kenny Stills game, that was
Kenny
dope.
Stills, Landry Jones, right?
Had some incredible home and aways, and we scheduled the Georgia one, but since half of it was going to be in non-con and half of it was going to be in conference, they canceled it, obviously. But we'll be up at the big house, and it's the only way to do it, man. You need to have those type of experiences. I wish we had one of those experiences this year, but we actually play the tough teams in the SEC, so I guess we didn't have to do it. Shout out my buddy Gage in the comments. My man, coming through.
Hey, he likes you a lot. He's a big fan.
Got the edible arrangement that I sent.
I'm waiting on mine, man. What the hell?
I want an edibles arrangement.
Right.
Gotta be careful in Oklahoma talking about edibles. Medicinal's legal.
Well, nothing on earth is legal here, so good for you, buddy. But yeah, I mean, to your point, Travis, y'all have played those big non-con games for a very long time, and at the same time, our hand kind of got forced. Once the new Big 12 was formed, and our biggest home game every 2 years was Oklahoma State or West Virginia or Tech. We had to do something. But yeah, I will say it is really cool. I definitely those matchups, Notre Dame, USC. We won't get into the one after USC because that was pretty embarrassing, and not a big matchup. Yeah, I mean, that Arkansas game was a makeup game from, I don't know if you remember this, but in 2008, Texas beat Arkansas so badly. It was 52-10, and that was like a or 52-10 or 52-3. And we were supposed to return to Fayetteville in 2009 or 2010, one of the two. And they were the program was in shambles for them at the moment. And they canceled the game just straight up. I mean, because there was no conference realignment yet. That didn't happen until 2012. And they just canceled it straight up. And then we had to return up there when we were terrible.
They got their get back.
Yeah,
hey,
they got back.
Well played on them.
Really?
I know there was a certain time frame in which the game had to be played or something to that measure. But yeah, that game sucked. I didn't have a good time there. Kyle, any chance you're going to be at the Arkansas game in November?
Nope. No way.
Nope.
Yeah.
I want to go, but there's other games in November that I have circled ahead of that one for sure.
Tulsa's only like an hour and a half away. You guys could come through.
Y'all play Tulsa? Is that when y'all play Tulsa? Is that late in the year?
Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
Y'all could come through the Arkansas game.
I got you. You're saying if you're in Arkansas, I got you. Okay.
I knew that too. That's bad on me. I would love to, Trav. We'll figure that out. I think we've talked about some golf. We got to make that happen. But you got to keep that damn bottle far away, okay? None of that. Actually, I'd try it.
Yeah, I would definitely post a picture with it.
Yeah.
That is some engagement farming right there.
Absolutely, brother.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'll have to get down to Texas. We're doing state of Oklahoma for the most part, prep stuff on Team Source Consulting Group. But that's the nice thing about this company is anywhere that there are high schools or colleges, they're potential clients. So I can call up people in the area, do whatever. It's like
Yeah, man. Absolutely. That's as soon as you get down. Make sure you do bring a bottle, though. I'll take a bottle. I'll pay for the bottle, but I'm not gonna go like physically purchase it. I'll Venmo or Cash App you. Let you know. So it'd be cool to have in the house.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah,
Oh,
very, very, very true. But all right, Trav, I'm gonna let you talk a little bit through 2 games. What are your impressions? What are your feelings regarding the Sooners? I know that or sorry, you're welcome to give as long-winded answer as you like. There could be a lot of feelings and thoughts in there. And then after me and Kyle, if Kyle's willing, I'm happy to share our thoughts regarding your first couple of games.
Yep.
well, it's one of those things that our defense has been incredible. Not against great opponents, but I think we're first in the country in. We're tied for first in touchdown conversion rate on offense, red zone touchdowns. We're first in turnovers. We're first in turnover margins. We're first in fumbles recovered. We're first in something else. But it's like the offense has just been rough because so many parts of it. Like it's like when your car it's got so much wrong with it and you take it into the shop and it's like I don't know what's causing the noise because I've got this wrong with it. I've got a wheel bearing that's grinding. I've got maybe it's maybe the transmission, maybe just whatever, right? Like you just don't know where it's coming from. But that's where it is with us right now. Like it's tough to diagnose the problem because we only have one starting offensive lineman healthy starting in his own spot. It's Babechi Wiwu, who's a transfer, is starting at right guard. Outside of that, nobody on our starting offensive line is either playing or in the right spot. We're down to our 4th string center. So with that, we're down 4 of our top 5 receivers. So it's just been the name of the game for us has just been get healthy, because it's just been tough as far as like, is it a Jackson issue? I mean, Aaron Murray did a film review of him, was like, no, Jackson's solid. Like it's just receivers are dropping balls. Running backs aren't getting out into the flat quick enough, or they're not blocking, or wide receivers aren't blocking, or like just that kind of stuff. So it's what happens when you have guys that weren't going to be starters and they were going to be 3rd string, and now all of a sudden they're playing with the ones, maybe for the first time.
Yeah.
So, but we should get Nick Anderson back this week. Andrell probably this week or next week. Offensive line, I think if we had to play, kind of what I've said before, if we had like you guys this week, we would probably play a lot more. But we're like, look, no need to risk it. Tulane's a good football team, but they're not Tennessee. So,
No.
And we understand, like, I think if you asked any OU fan and you had to pick which game to lose, they would pick Tulane. All of them would.
Right.
Like, you'd want to win that Tennessee game because people would forget about a non-con loss or whatever. If you step into the SEC and beat Tennessee at home and get going that way, healthy, that's what people care about. So that's not me saying that I don't mind losing to Tulane. Obviously, we want to win that football game. I think we will win that football game. But it's just somebody last night on the show, I'm not sure if you guys were watching, but somebody was like, the offensive line's been bad, and I don't want to hear about injuries. I was like, I mean, that's like, hey, Doc, why am I getting fat? And I don't want you to tell me to exercise or eat right. Like you walk outside, hey, my car's wet. Don't tell me about if it rained or not. I don't want that excuse. Like sometimes it's not it's not like BS or excuse or, sunshine pumping just to say, hey, all of our best players at the position is hurt. Like it just is what it is. Like that affects the game. So, and I think some people because offensive line's a bit more nameless, faceless than like the quarterback or something like that. Like you could ask all these people that are like, come on, next man up on the offensive line. What the hell's going on? You could ask all those people what happened in the 49-0 Texas game. Would they say next man up? Doesn't matter. No, they say we were.
Yeah, we had no QB.
We didn't have our starting quarterback. Like, and one of our 5 stars was at South Carolina. The other one was at USC. The other one was at Wisconsin. The other one was at like you know what I mean. Like, we had no quarterbacks that were with the team the year before. Not a one. So it was like, anyways, it's just sometimes it is BS sunshine pumping, and sometimes it's just the fact of the matter that you don't have your players, and that's what happens when you don't have your players. I do think that we will continue to fold our players back in, and that's one of the nice things about having the defense that we have is we can kind of afford to slow play the offense a little bit. This isn't a Lincoln Riley team where it's like, hey, like Houston would have put up 35 on a Lincoln Riley team. At least the Lincoln Riley teams that we had, I mean, would have at least put up 24. So, like, having that defense is something it's taking some getting used to with the fan base. When we hired Brent Venables, we always knew it was going to be a defensive-led football team. Like,
right.
so, but it's weird for people to like trust it because it was so bad for so long. So, you know, I think people are getting around to it. So,
I mean, I think you said a lot of things that casual fans are just they don't have the patience for, and they would be very wise to listen to. There's a lot going on. Kyle, if you have any impressions from, did you check out Oklahoma much of the first 2 weeks? And if you did, what did you think?
I saw a little bit of the Houston game, but yeah, just I mean, that kind of shit happens. There's so many seasons that you know, like you think are going to be good, and then something gets derailed. You know, we lost our first two running backs. Then Blue had an injury last game, so I worry every week. I'm like, okay, we're like an injury away from like getting really creative with running.
Right.
So I mean, every team is susceptible to that. So I feel you.
Right, but if you got good offensive line play, you know,
Well, yeah, I guess you could throw
throw a
anyone
running
in.
there and they can be all right. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what sucks about us is it's the foundation of our offense that is just in complete shambles.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got like this week we'll probably start 2 redshirt freshmen at center and left tackle. Like, you can do that at like right guard. You know what I mean? Maybe surround them with some experience usually, but like center and left tackle, that's tough. But
that's the 2 most important spots on the O line. I mean, arguably, but that's
and it's 4th string on both of them. So it's like,
I mean
but I mean, they also spent a year under Beatonbow, and they're going to be fine. They played fine last game, but it's like it's crazy that your 4th string on your center and left tackle can be fine. It's like, God, how good are the first stringers? Well, they're really good. Like, so we need to get them back.
Right. I think that, people have been a little bit hard on you guys for that. Obviously our side's not going to just sit there and be willing to give you the benefit of the doubt or, say that it's injury caused before it's like scheme caused or just execution caused. You look at the wide receiver injuries, man, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, that's as banged up of a wide receiver room as I've possibly ever seen. And so it's fun to laugh at you guys when you're struggling with Houston. And
we did the same for like a decade.
Yeah, right.
So.
I was gonna say literally last year
right.
we went through the same thing.
Yeah, and so like it's fun, but at the same time, I know that there will be improvement. I know that as you get Nick Anthony back or Anderson back, and then you get Andrero back, there will be a change in the offense. It'll look a little bit easier for Jackson Arnold. I'm not saying, obviously, and I don't think you're going to say that it's going to cure every problem because you got to get the alignment back. I mean, that's it's as important as anything. It kind of reminds me like in our 2021 team, and I'm not saying y'all season results would be anything close to that. It was just like when we had all our pieces, we had a very serviceable offense. We could score and move the football, and then kind of halfway to late in the season, holy hell, man, like Bijan was out sometimes, Roshan was out sometimes, DeMarvion Overshown was out sometimes, Casey Thompson was out, Hudson Card was out. Like it was like, dude, we're lucky we even have enough kids out there right now to field an offense. Like when we lost to Kansas, like we looked horrible on offense in the first half, and it's like, yeah, we're playing with this offense that has not played together all year. They don't have the reps, but yeah, I mean, it's and like you said, Travis, go ahead.
The problem that both of our teams deal with is, well, who cares? You got a bunch of 4 and 5 stars there.
Yep.
Like, God, like that's not what that means. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Well, what's the problem? It's like, dude, it's not. I will say, one thing that has been nice for OU fans these at least early in the season, is Baker Mayfield statistically has been the best quarterback in the NFL. And I did see my friend Ingrid crying under one of the, football posts about him saying, blah, 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 or whatever. Hey, Baker's been balling out. So I saw Colt retired, right?
Mm-hmm. Colt retired.
Okay, and Sam's, I think, third string. So, I got to get my digs in where I can because I can't get him in college right now. You know what I mean?
Hey, you're 2-0 just like us, and that's all that matters. And
I saw Ingrid. I saw Ingrid crying on Twitter on one of the Baker posts. So I saw her in the chat. So I thought about poking fun at her a little bit. It's nothing but love, Ingrid. Don't worry.
She's a great sport, and she's dated an Aggie for like 6 or 7 years. So like, I think she can take it. She can handle it. Apologize if I got that time frame wrong, Ingrid, but
she probably write a lot of that off on her taxes for community service.
Yeah, Ingrid, if your boyfriend sees, I'm not sorry. That was pretty damn funny. That was really good.
That was pretty good.
Was well played there.
But this is what we always agree on in the chat, and we agreed, I know Rob's not here to pick on, but OU and Texas, we can do something with a lot of mutual respect. Our trophy cases almost look the same. But, A&M's, yikes. They don't have the trophy case to keep up, so.
Yeah, it's like any part of you, Kyle, that feels bad for A&M after all the hoopla, all the hype. Notre Dame comes to town, kind of owns them in the second half. Like, does you have a family that are Aggies? Like,
just my dad.
Okay.
My poor dad. He's been cursed watching the Aggies for decades. He believes now, like, if he'll be outside working in the yard, he comes in, check the score, and that's like the moment A&M fumbles, or that's the moment that they get a pick, or that's the moment they miss a field goal or something. And he's very superstitious about it. So they've lost so much. He really believes he has something to do with it. So I always feel bad when they lose. I'm like, he had the Johnny Manziel year, I guess. So he had that. So I guess that's good enough. They don't need more than that.
That's kind of how I feel. I mean, there is the friends and family that I have that are Aggies that you don't want to root for sadness on your buddies all of the time, and it's a new era, it probably affects A&M's like season outcome, in a very small amount, but they really wanted that one, and then a lot of people, a lot of media, even myself, were screaming that they would win that game, which made me feel somewhat like a dumbass because that offense was hard to watch, but. We'll leave Rob's Aggies alone for now. Hope our guy is doing okay. Next time he's here, all fair game. We'll go at him. But
man, they better beat Florida is all I gotta say. Otherwise, it's gonna be rough.
Is Ingrid dating Rob?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna tweet that.
That's not insufferable.
Source Travis.
Oh my gosh. That would do some numbers, a little engagement there, but just a few. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go back, Trav. I'll talk about your Sooners. I think a little more. I think that are there people that are like Luttrell doesn't know what he's doing, or like questioning the scheme up there? I really hope not, because it's unfair of him when he doesn't have any of his pieces. But
it was a hire that made a lot of sense because OU's always been about continuity. And OU is a good place to preach continuity because we've been so successful. So it's like, why would you not want, one of yours to come back? A lot of people thought, it's the easy hire, but I think it was the right hire too. In a world of chaos, this is what I always say. This is why we extend Venables. In a world of chaos, if you can go to the place that seems more stable than anything, it's like you're in a storm. Like you hold on to whatever's not going to get blown away.
Right.
And that's the thing about Oklahoma is it's like the continuity that they just keep, refueling with. It's not going to get blown away. It hasn't been blown away in 100 years. So the thing is, people are like, oh, his offense stunk in North Texas. It's like, no, he was like I think he was 8th nationally in total yards, like at North Texas. I think he was the 6th scoring offense in the country at North Carolina. Like, it's he knows what he's doing calling offense. And people are like, man, I saw somebody said this guy got fired from North Texas and we hired him. I said, yeah, he got fired as a head coach. Lane Kiffin got fired as a head coach too. I think I'd take him as an OC. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
sure.
Like Sark got fired as a head coach.
Right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what's so funny to me is like sometimes you get fired as a head coach, and it just is what it is.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you wouldn't be a dynamite coordinator.
Absolutely
I
true.
would argue he's probably back to being a head coach in the next few years.
Yeah.
I think that's a good argument. I mean, look at even what North Texas has done in their first couple of games this year, and just talking, it's not the exact same scheme, but it's very close to it, and they're putting up crazy numbers. I'm going to give Seth a little bit of, respect and credit for that, because that offense is still. I'm curious to see what they look like against Tech on Saturday. I heard they have a few injuries, but North Texas still kind of has that offense rolling, and so I'm, like I said,
what
I'll
OU's
give.
trying to do is they're basically trying to. Like, okay, Lebby went and got an SEC job, right?
Right.
Joe John gets moved up to co-OC. Seth Luttrell's OC. Joe John gets moved up to co-OC, up from his, I think it was like passing game coordinator. Well, Emmett Jones gets moved up to passing game coordinator. I think the idea is if Seth Luttrell takes a head coaching job, Joe John Finley elevates to OC. Emmett Jones elevates to co-OC, and then you move up like who knows up to passing game coordinator or run game coordinator, whatever you want to do. And then say Joe John gets a head coaching gig. Then Emmett Jones rises up to OC. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to create like this, again, continuity.
Right.
Like you're going to be running the same offense. You're going to be talking with the same people. You're going to be coached by, and that's I think what they're going for, because completely resetting if somebody gets hired and then you're just like, oh, I'm going to go get somebody that's going to completely bring in a new system, you run the risk of losing a ton of recruits. You run the risk of losing maybe out on that year trying to learn something new. Like, it's just a lot of new. And I think that's what OU's trying to go away from is they're trying to be that steady hand. And I think it's a great long-term play. Short-term, who knows? But I think it's a really good long-term play.
No, I fully agree with you, man. If you look at, not trying to make everything a comparison, but if you look at our staff, there's been a ton of continuity. Obviously lost linebacker coach Jeff Choate last year, but to take a head coaching gig. And shout out Coach Choate in Nevada. And then obviously we lose Bo Davis. Bo Davis goes to his alma mater. LSU obviously like that hurts a little bit. Yes, we're still doing okay right now there, but over the last few years, we had an OC hire that didn't. I won't say it didn't work out, but it was short-lived with Brandon Marion, and now he's up at UNLV. But for the most part, it's a very rare commodity these days to see that continuity and to have a lot of carryover between staffs. And like you said, I think it was perfectly described, and it's a world of chaos, regarding the college football landscape. And so to find something that, you can call home and know that it's going to be home, maybe you don't know what your exact capacity is. You have the opportunity to rise up, like you're saying. I mean, I have no issues with that. I think it's a pretty swell idea up there in Norman. I hope it doesn't work out as well, but.
Right.
Uh-oh, I got a plug here. So shout out today, these guys over at University of Traditions at UNIV Traditions hooked me up with this all-white mesh hat, as long as this black billed rope hat, both Texas silhouettes on the front with the orange Texas. They've got, I believe I counted 22 different schools represented on their website. I did post a link earlier on a tweet. I'll do another one. So big shout out to those guys. Thanks for sending the hats over. I wore the black billed hat all day at volleyball, switched over to the white because I thought we were going to kind of get dirty. Travis, I thought I'd give you a shot to dirty me up here. We'd go at it. But, hey, I think in a few weeks, it could potentially be hard for your Sooners to win. When I'll lead into this, are we overcaught?
Traditions. I will continue the plug as a plane goes overhead. But I think I probably have 7 University Traditions hats. I've got the one with the black, with the silhouette. I've got those, and then all their old state logos, all that kind of stuff. I wore mine actually on our OU Insider pregame pod this morning. So you and I both have been on the University Traditions hat lately.
I love it. And speaking of
Are you
these
in
hats,
Iraq, Travis? It sounds nuts.
he's on the tarmac, man.
Yeah, we're not even
He's,
that close to the airport. But
he's looking for his next passing game coordinator after Seth gets hired and then Joe John gets hired. And
somebody do some flight tracking. I think somebody just flew over. I think they're flying to Kansas. Somebody's Kevin Wilson's taking a Florida job.
Man, those damn
Christ.
flight tracker tweets. Every time there's a coaching change for anyone.
Yeah, it's pretty funny watching all that stuff, man. To see all that play out.
My Florida buddy was like, my Florida buddy was like, "Hey, did you see this flight tracker?" And he said whatever city it was. I said, "What's that city?" He goes, "Well, that's where Jimmy Sexton keeps his. That's where he's got his hangar." And I was like, "I love that. Like, you're deep cut into college football whenever you know where the agent of the coaches keeps his plane." Like, that's so intense.
Oh man, Jimmy Sexton, what a guy! Can't imagine his cell phone or how many cell phones he has, and just got to be nonstop for that guy. Me and D have made a bet regarding Red River Shootout for 2024. I think I have both editions of their hats, D. So I might have you send mine to Kyle after we beat you guys here in a month. Actually, 1 month from today, Travis. That one's going down. But I want to ask you. You're all over Twitter. You see everything. You see me and Kyle. You see Doc. You see all the horns.
Actually, Doc has me blocked. I don't.
Doc has you blocked. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got Doc blocked? Oh,
that is
blocked for years, and I don't even know what I said. Like, I don't get too crazy with Texas fans unless they're just idiots. Which, okay, maybe I know why Doc blocked me, but I think Doc and Jeff Ketchum are the only two Texas accounts that like at least big ones. Like, I'm sure like
have you blocked?
Horns 75 with 4 followers has me blocked. But like as far as like the big accounts, like Doc Texas and Jeff Ketchum are the only ones to do. Mainly because Jeff Ketchum, remember when y'all were going after Urban and like it looked like it was like a real possibility of it happening? Well, Jeff Ketchum had all these tweets when like Urban was at Ohio State and stuff was going down, blah blah. Like Jeff Ketchum had all these like
negative Meyer tweets,
like super like absolute.
There's always a tweet.
Brutal tweets about Urban Meyer. So naturally, I found them. So I went and found him and was like quote tweeting him and been like, "Hey," or like putting him under his tweets about Urban Meyer. I was like, "Is this gonna be awkward? Like, are you gonna bring this up?" Like, and he was like, I forget. He said something to me, and then like when I went to reply, he had blocked me. I'm like, all right, whatever.
No.
Enough people send me his tweets though. I feel like I still follow him, or that I've not blocked, I should say.
Answer this for the
sounds
viewers.
Like me with Aggies.
I can't even.
Times I have, huh?
No, I was gonna say I can't even imagine how many Aggies have you blocked on there.
I've had someone say, "How does he keep showing up on my timeline? I have him blocked."
Right.
And, like people just share it around. And
the real question is, which Texas accounts has Travis blocked? I mute Texas accounts more than I block them for the most part. I have a significant amount of Texas accounts blocked. The only ones that I really block is if they get personal for some reason.
Right.
For no reason. I've had some Texas fans like go and leave bad reviews on my restaurants over some Twitter banners, stuff like that. Like, yeah, just like loser stuff. So over like Twitter talk, like just crazy stuff. So I try not to have too many of them blocked. If your goal in life is to just try and troll and not even be clever about it, then I'll probably block you on just like a lack of creativity. Like maybe when you get better at Twitter, I'll unblock you. But for the most part, I just have a lot of accounts muted.
I have a funny confession, and you just triggered a memory that I think you might appreciate. You probably are going to lower it's probably going to lower your opinion of me, but let's go back to July 4th. What would that be? 2016? You remember that day? Is that the day I'm thinking of?
When your cupcake went out west?
So Kevin Durant, which when he announced he was going to Golden State, I threw and broke my a Kindle. I was pretty pissed off when Durant did that. I'll be honest. But do you remember several? Yes, I did say
Kindle.
I did break my Kindle.
Kindle, like read on.
I know, I'm just messing.
I hope.
Kyle's wrong. No, you're right. Kyle had a little bit of controversy with that Barbie pick again the other day, which is so lame that people bring that shit up, man. But
I posted it. I'm obviously okay with it.
Exactly. Like, dude, you like pink? I love pink. I'm a rock pink too. Good for you, Kyle. But so Travis, do you remember when Golden State came to Oklahoma City for the first time? Obviously, it was very anticipated. You know, there was going to be a lot of animosity in the air. And do you remember the old restaurant Mahogany and them turning down Durant and his, I guess, entourage for like a reservation request? Did you ever hear anything about that? Or
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm
okay.
I love Mahogany. I've actually I think I'm going there next couple of weeks. I've got every time yeah, absolutely. I'm familiar because Tulsa had the first one. So Hal Smith Restaurant Group, which ironically, another side story of this, Hal, you know how we have Toby Keith's I Love This Bar and Grill?
Yeah.
And like a Wes Welker spot. Like Hal Smith is like the big restaurant guy in Oklahoma. He's all the way up through the Midwest and whatnot. Anyways, he's got like Charleston's, Red Rock, Garage, like a lot of names that people around here and around the Midwest would know. Well, he had KD's restaurant. So KD had a restaurant in Bricktown. And it was like light up menus. And I remember going to it. I mean, it was a dope restaurant. Everything was overpriced, but it is what it is.
Of course.
But go there. So him and Hal were business partners, theoretically. Well, Mahogany is Hal's main steakhouse. So there's a bit more history between the two that a lot of people don't even realize, like nationally.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. I definitely might have called maybe 8 to a dozen times. It's been almost a decade, okay? And I definitely was like chirping and pissed off. And I was like, I will never, me who's never stepped foot within probably 50 yards of that establishment, I will never bring my family back. I will never come back. If you don't let Kevin Durant, I've grown since then, okay? And also my devotion to Kevin Durant has weakened over that time. I was pissed, man. I was so mad at everything OKC, because I was a Thunder fan. And I heard and saw the way they cheered for him and praised him for years. And then it flipped like that. And part of me, obviously, I was the same way. I was pissed, man. I had to concede to that or confess to that because I hadn't thought about that in a really long time. I would guess I called them probably 10 to a dozen times and just let them have it.
As a restaurant guy, that hurts.
Yeah. Hey, dude. I was a restaurant guy for a while too. I cannot imagine how much I wanted to kick myself in the ass later in life when I was like, that's how you handled that. Nice. But
what's funny, like, when you make reservations, like they save your number, like they have a book of like a lot of fine dining places, if you've been here before type situation, like, and they look up, they probably saw that phone number and they're like, he ain't never been here before. Hey, hang up on
call with a 512 number and get the hell out of here. But
out of here.
And I'm sure after I gave them like my fourth fake name, they were probably like, it's the same guy. It's him. But
you can keep giving the names if you're calling from the same number. That doesn't help. Yeah,
that's a good point. Because
supposed to star 67, then use a different accent every time. Come on.
I'm bad with the accent game, but I'll work on it.
For you to do 10 different accents on the phone. That'd be amazing.
If we win, if Texas wins the Natty, the first show that we all come on after it, I will speak in whatever accent y'all tell me to. I will practice it. I will do my best for an entire hour.
Yeah,
I don't
care. It's worth it.
No, how about this? I got a better one. If Texas wins the Natty, you take Kyle and I to Mahogany. And we do the show from their private room.
Deal.
I'm in.
Deal.
I'm in. I mean, are you kidding me? I'll go hang out for a week up there if we win the Natty. That'd be a lot of fun sporting the burnt orange around. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sooners would love that.
Yeah, Mahogany can get pretty out of control, so you might have to finance it, or just bet big on the Longhorns, I guess. And if it works out, it works out.
Well, there you go, man.
They're like, "Are you bet for what?" Oh, well, if they win this game, I got $1,000 dinner I gotta buy, so I better hedge appropriately.
Yeah, exactly that. Let's see if I can middle here. Maybe we'll get dessert too. But let me go. I'm gonna ask Kyle this first, and Trav, I want to get you to go next, but in a different manner. Kyle, after what you've seen the first 2 weeks out of Texas, does it raise your season expectations? Because I think you said what, 10-2 or 11-1 before the last time we talked. 11-1.
Yeah, 11-1, 10-2, somewhere around there. Yeah, I really thought since January, I was like, there is no way Michigan is going to come back with half their guys and beat us. And then Harbaugh left, and I was like, okay, there's no way they're going to come back with half their guys and no coach and beat us. So I was pretty confident. I think I posted like right after the championship game last year that we were going to spank them in Ann Arbor. It's very similar to Texas winning in 2005, and then in 2006, Ohio State came to our house. I knew I was walking in the state. I was like, "There's no way we're going to beat them. We have no one." It's like Colts, like second game where there's no way.
Yeah, and plus Greg Davis called an awful game in that 2006 Ohio State game. I don't think he let Colt attempt anything more than about 10 yards down the field. We played in a box on offense. Yeah.
You're like, Michigan has. They lost the most amount to the draft, 13 players.
Yeah.
They lose their Hall of Fame head coach, not just their head coach, first ballot Hall of Fame head coach. Maybe is he a top 3 coach? I mean, made it to a Super Bowl.
Great coach,
won
man.
a championship, made Stanford relevant, which probably is the toughest out of any of those 3 things.
Honestly, that's just
he's probably a top 3 coach in football right now. So that you lose first round pick to the Vikings. And then you lose your signal stealer, which we can joke about it, but that's a real thing. Like that's
right. Yeah. It's gonna hurt them this year, obviously. Yeah.
Right. So and honestly, this is gonna sound really mean, but it's a great story. The Michigan quarterback, right? Leukemia.
Yeah.
Fought to make the roster. All this, that, and the other. It's just. He's just not good enough. They needed to go to the portal. They needed to go get somebody to at least compete with him, because I know Texas has a good defense, but man, there were a couple. I'm sure you guys remember late in the first half, 21-7, right before the tight end just
dropped.
Yeah. They had a wide receiver running a deep cross, wide open.
Really?
The fastest receiver.
Burrow wasn't there.
The guy puts it 10 yards over his head. If that catch was going to be at like the Texas 38, I think, looking back at it, he catches that in stride. Like, he had one man to beat.
Right.
Now, who knows, right? Maybe he falls. Who knows, right?
Right.
At least if he catches that, better than a 10% chance he scores there, and Michigan gets the ball back to start the half. Right. Now you're looking at a one-score game. Michigan gets the ball back with confidence. Instead, he airmails it, and then the tight end just butterfingers it with no Texas defender around him, and Texas goes in and scores before half. The game was already
over. Yeah,
but that was the nail gun just ravaging the offense.
Yeah.
Do you think, Trav, that this was? I was going to ask a little bit earlier. Do you think that I'll say the bulk? I don't think Kyle and I are getting out of line yet, but do you think the bulk of Texas fans are a little bit overconfident after that performance, because it was against the defending national champion and on the road, which it's not the same team, but
yeah,
I'll be very kind. Texas fans talked like they currently talk whenever you guys were winning 5 games. So I haven't noticed much of a difference because I've just been used to Texas fans talking crazy my whole life.
Hey, Trav, real quick. Kyle, I didn't even realize it was almost time. You got any other topics or questions, brother, before you bounce out of here?
Oh, no, I was just going to say what I am liking from Texas is their is their scoring. They've averaged 28 points in the first half so far, which is it's awesome.
Hey, we'll take that.
Our drives at the first half of the Michigan game was should have been a field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, punt. Oh wait, yeah, that was it. And then second half we scored again, but that first half was just lights out playing, and I really am liking that. I hope we can continue that in the next two games are just warm up games. So you're not going to see much on offense, but I'm excited for that first SEC game. I think we're going to put on a show. It's going to be pretty sweet. But
yeah, you guys are much better in the red zone this year, which was a massive struggle for you guys last year.
Oh yeah, I've seen the images 10,000 times from Sooners. Texas couldn't get it in on first and goal.
The first and goal one?
Yeah.
I just mean in general, like the entire season, you guys struggled in the red zone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely true. That was a big thing for me in that game was if we didn't have a way that or an avenue really that Michigan could win that one unless we turned the ball over 3+ times. They just kind of stymied us in the red zone. Yeah. And luckily, not lucky for us, but none of those happened. We were great in the red zone, didn't turn the ball over at all. Michigan, as you said, Loveland absolutely just butterfingered the ball for no reason. A couple of bad turnovers. One's the quarterback's fault. One, I think, was on a wide receiver. But, yeah, Kyle, if you got a bounce, brother. Trevor, you got a few more minutes?
Yeah, man, I got
you good to carry?
This cigar and the rest of this drink. I know that much. I'm not going inside.
I love it. Kyle, feel free to sign off, brother, man. Yeah, absolutely, brother. Thank you for being here. Yeah, that's my guy. All right, Trav, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just know Kyle said he kind of had a heart out.
No, you're good. I was just saying, like, I don't feel like Texas fans are being any crazier than they normally are. But that's what happens when, you're a fan of a big-time program. You just expect, to be good. You expect to win. You expect, like, I guess the shouting that you have the most recent natty has changed to we have the most recent playoff, whatever. like, granted, we have more playoff appearances and more natties, but the most recent argument is still alive and well amongst the Texas fan base. But Ingrid, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. She does not have any. I'll keep on posting Baker Mayfield clips, and we'll see if that if that puts her closer to the edge. But yeah, like I said, I haven't, and I think a lot of people like. There's a little bit of that. Oh man, all you Sooner fans thought that Michigan would just dominate Texas. Where are you at now? I'm like, what? Where? Who? Like, who was saying that Michigan would dominate Texas? I mean, just trolling.
Just people trolling. I don't know, Big Ten or Michigan fans a few times. Help out our Mr. Coach Snark right here. I don't think you're going to be big on the panic meter if y'all struggle because of all the reasons you just mentioned. But Coach would like to know
if we roll out there without the guys we've been without this whole time. It shows me because I talk to people I know who's close to back, who could go, who is like I know the people that could go if they had to. If I don't see them out there, then I'm not going to be panicking at all.
Yeah,
because I know that they're holding them back for Tennessee. So. This weekend, I don't know. It sounds weird, but like I go win with defense again. Like I would love to see OU's offense take off. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to be on the panic meter by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't think you should. I think you're going to know what I mean when I say this, but I've said it on the channel a few times over the last couple of days. I think that your best offense right now is your defense. They're turning everybody over, setting you up in great field position all the time. You're winning the field position battles. Look at what y'all did with Houston and getting the safety and just one small instance. But you got to give that offense time. So I know our side is going to be really hard on you guys.
Our first touchdown was set up by a turnover. On special teams.
Right.
We've got one turnover on special teams. Well, then we had another one. We scored a touchdown on special teams last week. And then in Houston, we get the safety. We get the pick near midfield. And he's asking why hold. Because you hold back injury-wise. If you can have somebody 90% healthy against Tennessee, or 80% healthy against Tulane and risk that they're re-injure something, aggravate something. Like, I just know that guys have been held out. So there are certainly different strategies to it. There's come in cold versus Tennessee hasn't seen any tape on these guys, that kind of thing. Like, but the goal should be get as healthy as you can for your biggest test.
Yep. I mean, I agree. That's you're gonna have to have some health, and you got to have your guys. You're about to go through a big time SEC schedule there.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's massive. As you said earlier, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like Sooner fans would definitely rather lose to Tulane and beat Tennessee than the flip that around.
Yeah. There's not an argument the other way, in my opinion. Right. And Ingrid has asked this twice now. So I think we beat Tennessee simply because I think it's going to be the best home environment we've had probably since 08 Tech. We'll be the healthiest we've been all year. I still think Tennessee's secondary can get got. And I like the way our defense is playing.
I don't think we saw them get tested enough with Grayson McCall. I don't think that secondary has been, like you're saying. I think we don't know enough about their D line's good.
Their D line's very good, but their secondary was bad last year, and I don't think it's gotten much better. I like Nico. He's incredibly talented. Watched him live when he was doing 7-on-7. But I just think, I don't know. I think that even our like unsung guys, this is how you can tell our defense is good. So you got Billy Bowman, who's an all-SEC preseason guy. You got Danny Stutzman, who's an all-SEC preseason guy. Both those are on All-American preseason lists. And then you've got Grayson Halton, who was the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week. And then you've got Robert Spears-Jennings. Those two guys don't get any pub. Robert Spears-Jennings is the highest-graded P4 defender in the entire country. And he's a safety for OU next to Billy Bowman. So, like, even the unsung guys are showing up on national radars when you know what you've got in guys like Bowman and Stutzman and Dominic Williams and all that kind of stuff.
I don't think this is trolling at all, Coach, when you say that. I think it's a tough matchup, especially when you can look on the flip side and say we have Mississippi State, who no knock on them.
Yeah.
They looked really bad in that first half.
We screwed ourselves for being good for the last 10 years because they said that's how they did the schedules. They took the last 10 years records, and Texas sucked for 10 years. So you guys got an easy schedule. We got a hard schedule, which is fine. I would trade that in. I enjoyed being good for the last decade, and you guys are hitting your stride right at the right time when it's entering in the SEC. So, I mean, like, big ups to Sark for that. But it was like I talked to Sankey at the OU SEC day when he came into Norman because we were at a big gala dinner or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, that's just, it's how it had to work. Mathematically, I mean, it seemed like the best way to do it. I'm like, all right, cool. And it takes the if you have a system, it takes any criticism out of it, right? Like, you can criticize the system, but you can't say, oh, they just picked this to, for branding reasons or for, trying to jockey certain teams to do certain things. Like, as long as you have a system, like, you can at least say, hey, that's just the way that we figured was fair. We plugged the numbers spat out the schedule. We didn't try and make it this way.
Yeah, also,
I'm stoked about our schedule. Like, everybody's like, oh, it sucks. I'm like, dog, like, as a guy that goes to every game and a guy that, like, away and home, like, I want the best schedule possible, like the coolest schedule and opportunity, right? Like, the problem is, so look at Tennessee's schedule, right? They play their 3 tough games are us, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yep.
Everybody else, it is terrible. So if they lost to Alabama and Georgia and beat us, they're immediately in the playoff with one good win. But that's the thing. It's like, with Oklahoma, we could stumble out of the gate. If you finish with wins over, like, again, theoretical, wins over Texas, Alabama, LSU, Missouri, like, there's just so much opportunity to. It's like Big 12 basketball, right? It's like there's opportunity out there. Yeah, you could get run over, but there's opportunity to go get some really good wins late that are going to really play well nationally. I mean, you could lose to Tennessee, fall down to like 22nd in the country, and by the time you're going into the second to last week of the season, if you're taking care of business, be like a top 16. That you just couldn't do that in the Big 12.
No, you couldn't, man. You don't have chances week in and week out to prove yourself. Absolutely true. Which I'm sure, if you're not at Texas or Oklahoma, would have hurt you a little more in the Big 12. Obviously, we got into the playoffs last year. Y'all were never really having to, sweat it out to make the playoffs under Riley. Y'all were kind of always firmly in there. But, yeah, it's huge, man. And you talk about a college football fan. Travis obviously is a massive one, myself too. It's a beautiful thing to where you can show up to your stadium on Saturdays and you're like, hey, it's about to be a dogfight today. Like this crowd's going to be engaged for 4 hours. Everything about it, there's extra tail. I mean, like SEC football is different. And so while, yeah, we do not have maybe the prowess of the schedule that y'all have, like it's still cool. Having Florida and Kentucky, Georgia come to home is a damn sure a lot cooler than, Tech, West Virginia, and TCU. And that's not to knock them. It's just this is the top of the line. It's premier college football. Real quick, D, this is a trap question, I feel like. Considering who you root for, that's really difficult for me. I do have a lot of respect for the Oklahoma defense. I also have a lot of respect for what I think at the end of the year will be a pretty dang good A&M defense. At the moment, both offensive lines kind of struggling, but health related, and it's going to be one of those two. I'm going to choose Oklahoma or A&M. And I shit, this is so crazy to say because y'all own us, but I would probably say A&M this year just because it's where the game's played.
Have you watched them this year, bro?
Dude, have you?
I know
you've been talking about our schedule. You know who's on it. Did you see Kentucky last week? Have you seen Florida?
No, I'm saying over us.
Oh, I mean, brother, it's tough. Y'all can record or clip this and bring it back up. It's really hard. I'm essentially flipping a coin here, and it's landing on A&M's side.
Never said about Oklahoma while I've been on here.
What's that?
That's the most disrespectful thing you said. I've been on here. Is that you think the A&M game is going to be more difficult?
Man. If we were playing you guys at the end of the season and playing A&M in 1 month, my answer might be different. But I don't know, man. Sark and revenge games. Don't you bring up Washington, please. Don't say anything about Washington. But Sark and revenge games, I think we're going to get our best effort in that one. And it's not, also it's the fact that you lead into that game. Yeah, you have a bye week. But before that, you have Tennessee, you have Auburn, you have a lot of injury issues. But at the same time, if you said that about, if this situation was reversed and I was an Oklahoma fan, you're a Longhorn fan, and you just said what you said, I'd be a little ticked as well. So I definitely get it.
Yeah.
Look what you did, Jerry. You set me up. See, Ingrid's kind of right. She knows ball. Like, do you know what it's like to lose to the Aggies, Travis? Not really. Well, that's true. Damn, that's true.
They are our Aggies. They're an Ag school, so we call them Aggies. So, yeah, I do. And also, you're lucky you haven't played the Aggies, or you wish you would have played the Aggies. Had that win total a little bit more because they stink.
Yeah. No, I don't know, D. That's tough. I would be 50-50 there because I do know in the Red River and as most rivalry games go, anything can happen, which is why we're 2-0. I'm going to go back to what Travis said a little bit earlier. Michigan is huff right now. Call it how it is. They stink. They will get better. They have good defensive pieces. They will get better. It's not a knock on Michigan's program. You're going week to week here when you talk about a team that's that's replacing that many players. I am confident by what I saw at Texas on Saturday. I really am. But at the same time, you look at who the opponent was. And so it's tough for me to.
Don't get it twisted. I would absolutely take a national title if we stunk the next year.
Oh, yeah. Michigan. Yeah, absolutely. We get that for 2 years.
They're like, would you take a 4-8 season this year if it meant a title this year? Like, yes, I would take a 0-12 season. Yep. Like, I would take whatever the worst thing you can think of. I would take it if it guaranteed a title. Like, what are you talking about? I do want to answer D's question real quick on who's my young player to break out or watch this weekend. he's not a true freshman, but keep an eye on Sammy Omosigo. He was a hellion last game. Big, strong. He's going to get some reps at Cheetah. Like Sammy Omosigo is that's going to be a good one. Did I tell you the story about the NFL scout at OU Texas last year?
Yeah, that you sure did.
That would be my pick in this. Like if I'm in the same scenario in October, like Sammy Omosigo is going to be the one where I'm like, this guy, he's an NFL player.
You referenced an
All-American linebacker. It's like,
it's tough.
It's tough. We have 3 linebackers on our special teams that all could start at 100 different schools, and they're the ones that have caused turnovers and big hits so far. I'm like,
gotta love it. I mean, when you reference the Cheetah position and Brent Venables' defense, I'm assuming it's like hybrid edge or.
Yeah, it's like some people call it anchor, some people call it like it's nickel. It's the will linebacker, so you have like Sam and Mike, so it's the will.
It's gonna he'll walk down and rush the passer and stuff.
Right, but he plays in coverage a ton. So like
okay.
If you see like Peyton Bowen out there, he's Cheetah, but more coverage snaps. Kendall Dolby plays a ton of Cheetah. Sammy Omosigo is going to be in more, maybe run obvious senses, but they don't walk down to the line all that often. But yeah, Will Backer would essentially be hybrid type safety, Will Backer type.
Oh,
he's what Isaiah Simmons was.
Okay. Yeah, just curious. I mean, I know there's a lot of different verbiage and terminology for some of the spots, so I just wanted to make sure. Keep an eye out for the guy because I will be watching this weekend. I personally, for myself,
I got the other one because Peyton Bowen's a little bit banged up. Michael Boganowski is going to hurt somebody this weekend for sure. He's a true freshman, number 1 player in the state of Kansas, safety.
Now it rings the bell.
Yeah, Boganowski. He's definitely gonna get thrown out of a game or two because he just hits. Like he'll run into a pile and try and smoke anybody in it, like no matter what color jersey they're wearing. But yeah, I would say those 2 cats.
I'm always trying to know my enemies, man. So I'll be watching Tulane again. I'm just curious to see how it looks. Real quick, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, do me a favor, hop into my profile, follow that link, come subscribe to the channel on YouTube. All right, we're trying super hard to every day, basically.
You're the hardest working in podcasting right now, man.
I'm not trying to saturate the content or anything, but we've got some awesome people that are coming on, and everybody that I ask, they say yes, and so I'm happy to continue bringing you guys on. Travis is going to be, obviously he'll be back around. But real quick, yeah, just go follow the link in my bio. Go subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Show Trav and Kyle some love because they're great guests. Next time we're going to have Rob back on for sure as well. But so before we get out of here, Trav, like season expectations, man. Give me a what pleases you with this Oklahoma team? Because I don't think, that y'all are expecting conference title. I don't think that y'all – maybe you're thinking playoff. Maybe you are. But, yeah, it's kind of what you've seen. Has it changed any of your season expectations? Do you have higher? Do you have lower?
So one thing that I was told a long time ago, the ceiling at Oklahoma is 12-0 every year. If you have the talent, you have a top 10 roster, then which we do in the talent composite and in the blue chip ratio, 12-0 is always your ceiling. Like, it doesn't make sense, as is Texas, right? Like, I'll never understand when people are like, man, I think we got a ceiling of 10-2. I'm like, so you mean that to tell me that there are 2 teams that we cannot beat? Like,
right.
I think that's silly. So I will be disappointed if we don't make the playoff.
No, I like that. I think that's the right attitude to have.
Like, I don't understand if I'm not disappointed. Like, if we win 9 games and miss the playoff, like, what kind of Oklahoma fan am I saying, oh yeah, year 3 Brent Venables, that's good for now. Like, why?
I think that
never been to Oklahoma.
I love that attitude. I only had to ask that question because I feel like some Sooners are already kind of throwing in the towel at certain times. I mean, obviously Venables is going to have that same mindset. He's thinking playoffs. I guarantee you. Every single week that's they're going one day at a time, but he's thinking along the same lines as you. There's no reason. I mean, you have injuries, you have a young quarterback, but hey, I mean, it's go time. It's
the best defense in the SEC.
I mean, your defense is going to keep you around.
Which is why I said might.
Yeah.
I didn't guarantee anything, but I think we might. I mean, when you look at just the way they're playing right now, I mean, I know it's Temple and Houston, but I mean, I think we can match up with pretty much anybody defensively. We're just going to have to score, which I think we will because we always have. I mean, I think what a lot of people get messed up is forgetting how good the Big 12 was in the 2000s. Like, the people that were like, "Oh, you got fat on 10-win seasons because you came from the Big 12." No way, man. How many national championships did OU or Texas make it to starting in 2000, right? 2000, 2003, 2004, 2005,
09.
2009. Like, that's a lot of national championship appearances because the conference was good.
Yep.
And then, again, Texas went down with a couple of hires that didn't go great. But, like, when the conference went down, was when Oklahoma really stopped on the national stage being able to compete because you weren't pushed.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody to push you.
Yep.
And
I mean, it can sound silly at times, but as a competitor, anyone that competes knows that if you have somebody beside you that is pushing you, and I mean, we always have a little bit more. And I think that's very well said.
Well, and that's when you start recruiting. I mean, Texas goes through it too. Like, you get pushed. And Michael Boganowski, who I brought up earlier, he's right behind Robert Spears Jennings. I guarantee you that's why Robert Spears Jennings is the highest rated defender in the country right now. It's because he's got this young dude behind him. Not to say Robert's not young, but it's like he's being pushed every day in practice. He's got to get better. So,
real quick, Dante, mad respect for you, man. Like, you're not afraid to say how you feel about your Sooner football team or really anyone else's on Twitter, even if it's what the majority of the fan base might not want to hear. Maybe there's some truth to it. I think you do a really good job of representing yourself on there, buddy, with your Sooner fandom. So shout out, Dante. But it's tough, man. I'm gonna ask you this, and it could be a really difficult question. Do you have an early read on the Red River for as far as 2024 goes? I know we're a timeout. As far as like how you guys match up, but at the same time, you don't know maybe who all will be available for you guys at that point. But you are expected to have some guys back before then. So do you have an early read on it?
I think lower scoring than usual. I think our defense can play with you guys, no doubt. Your defense has looked good. We just got to pick up our offensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be a one-score game, as it
typically is.
And both teams have their starting quarterback. And what it'll come down to is, can Texas hold on to the ball? Because that's what happened last year, right? I mean, Quinn turned it over 3 times, and that was and you guys still had a chance to win, but Quinn turned it over 3 times, and otherwise we don't win if that doesn't happen. So I think if Oklahoma can turn Texas over, I think there's a clear path to victory. I don't think Oklahoma wants to get in a shootout, but I don't think in this day and age the two teams are built to end up in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like, I think the defenses have a bunch of talent. I think your offense is better. I think our defense is better. And I mean, I think it'll be another one-score game.
Yeah, had to get your take on it. I'm always thinking about that game, always kind of looking and seeing how I think we'll match up and following you guys. I mean, I think you nailed it. It's all about turnovers. You know, we had a turnover inside the red zone last year. Maybe it was even inside the 10 where Billy stuck Jatavian and
former teammates.
Yeah, former teammates. A little tip drill interception there, a little Sooner magic. That one happened right in front of my eyes. It hurt a little bit. And then obviously the opening interception, and then another time where, I believe we're right at midfield, maybe a little past midfield when Quinn turns it over with the fumble. And I mean, so like there's one thing turning the ball over at midfield, another one when we turn it over inside your 20 and give you an easy score or 30, and then we're going in to score. So yeah, I mean, fully agree. It's going to come down to turnovers. I thought the only way Michigan got us. Go ahead.
Down earlier is like the what it does to you mentally to not be able to put that ball in.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, there was like 50,000 of us on our side who it definitely bothered mentally pretty heavy. You know, it was tough, man, because it felt like one of those games where we just moved the ball at will, especially kind of after the first quarter. But like, and then you just don't finish, you know. And so like to write you guys off and to say that can't happen again, I think is silly. I know a lot of Texas fans are feeling really confident. For me, it's kind of just like how much does your offense improve? You know, you'll be a much better unit than we saw with Michigan. You know what I mean? We're not going to see that again. For me, it was like, dude, Quinn, just don't ever turn the ball over. Take what they give you. We'll have enough opportunities to score points. You don't have to really do anything crazy in this game. But yeah, long ways to go before that, man.
The short and intermediate throws, he cuts everybody up. He's looked fine this year, but like the deep ball, he doesn't need it. Like, and I know he wants to put stuff on tape and and you've got burners, but you don't need it. Like Quinn has always, even back to his high school days, been really good at placing the ball in the short and the intermediate. That's all you have to do. That's what he did against Washington.
Yep.
Right? Like short and intermediate. Once you have to throw long, but it's always harder to throw long for everybody, right? It's farther away.
Of course.
Right. So it's like, that's why longer putts are harder than short putts. So it's like, it's with that, if Quinn doesn't get greedy and try and put balls deep to try and, close the door, then it's definitely going to be a tall task.
No doubt, man. Always looking forward to that one. Definitely just
also,
protect the ball.
Healthy for a whole season yet.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Man, I love Arch, but I want Quinn to play in that game more than anything in the world. That's going to be a very big game, as it always is. I am already nervous just sitting here talking about it with you. We're 1 month from today, and so
if you need something to calm the nerves,
hey,
little horns
pie
spirits will get you right.
There you go. I ready to indulge myself, but Tulane doesn't worry you at all. Let me do this with you.
Tulane does worry me, but
no, it shouldn't.
Not in the way that. How do I put this? I think Tulane will keep it a close game.
There you go.
I think we'll win the game, and I don't rest the entire season on it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And the circumstances. Like I have context about the team right now. If we were going in there full strength and Tulane beat us, I would be a bit concerned. So, I
think they do enough to keep it close. But I don't think that after last week in the real physical matchup they had with Kansas State, with the defense for you guys being as good as it is, I have y'all win it.
Very good. I think Tulane's quarterback's good. One thing about Tulane, and this is it's an unfortunate circumstance for them. On Tuesday's press conference, John Summerall, their coach, said that they were already moving into some hotels that had generators because of the hurricane coming.
That's tough, man.
They were not even going to be able to practice because Francine was hitting South Louisiana. It was making landfall in the middle of yesterday. So it's like he said, bring your school supplies, bring everything, bring a bag. Like we're going to be staying in the hotels and then probably just going to Norman. So it's like, could that, really pull them together as a unit going through that? Could it mess with their preparation negatively? Who knows, but it's just simply something that it is a reality, right?
Yeah.
Like it's obviously not a good thing, but it's something that's a reality. They're not going to have their normal preparation.
No, it's tough on kids, man. I didn't even realize that. That's massive. That's a lot of time out of your normal routine. And then obviously you're talking about losing practice reps. That's huge. I mean, let's talk Tennessee. Let's talk Auburn. Hypothetical. You go 1-1 there. Is there a game you prefer to win and lose? Is it you want to win the home opener with Tennessee? Is there obviously the much better opponent, but then you go and lose to Peyton Thorne and Auburn? Not to put you in too much of a bind, but
I think you just win the home games. Protect the field. You start to develop a reputation in the SEC as a really tough place to play if you win your home games, which is important. Those reputations are important, right? So I think winning, putting that first foot, in the right spot. If you beat Tennessee, obviously a bigger win. If you go on the road at Auburn, then people are like, man, tough road game, tough environment. It is what it is. That's life in the SEC. I think if you lose the home opener, it's okay. Now what's the season looking like for real? I think if you beat Tennessee, you come out of Auburn 3-1, 11-1 still on the table, right? 10-2 still on the table. No problem. Playoff, you're right there. You've already notched a top 10 win. But, Tennessee, like you said, they're the better team. But, I'm much more of I want the committee to see what we are, what the best possible thing we can do is, as opposed to, let's make sure we don't have any bad losses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I get that for sure. I think it's quite obvious that you got to choose Tennessee there. That's huge. Prove yourself game. And then obviously losing to Auburn, but you lose the Tennessee game, and then I'm the same as you. You start to think like, okay, that Auburn game all of a sudden gets a lot more scary. Then you follow that up with Texas, and then the rest of that brutal schedule. That
OU Texas game could be the highest combined ranks. I mean, seriously, because you would think if both of us take care of business, Tennessee's or game day is going to come to Norman for the Tennessee game. Because I've talked to a bunch of national SEC folk, and they're like, we're doing whatever we can to get to Norman that day. Like,
really?
Well, we just got to take care of business against Tulane. Oh, a ton of them. The SEC Unfiltered
guys. Oh,
you're
talking about next week?
The Tennessee game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would be shocked if it doesn't, to be honest. I think that'll be
we got to take care of business against Tulane.
Yeah. No, that'd be awesome, man. I debated I was supposed to go to the Oklahoma State-Utah game next week, and I had some Sooners chirping at me saying, why didn't you choose our game? And kind of regretted it in hindsight, not putting you guys on the polls. That'd be a pretty cool game to check out.
But with that, it's like, I think there's a few people, like the SEC has just kind of been in their own world for so long, right, mentally. Even when Fon came before he did the SEC day there, he walked through the facility and he's like, he even talked about it. He's like, man, I had kind of forgotten OU's history. Like you walk through there and you see all the trophies, all the Heisman, all the national championships, all the conference championships. 50
so the opposite of walking through A&M's trophy room?
Yeah. Well, it only takes you about 14 seconds to walk through A&M's trophy room because they have to make it big enough for ADA for wheelchair compliance. But other than that, yeah, it's the size of an outhouse. But yeah, I think it's important to get, just for narrative type stuff, to get all the SEC people come check it out. Come see what we're about, because I think, again, the people that have been just hyper focused on the SEC all the time, they don't really realize what OU's been about for the last 100 years.
Yeah. I mean, you have as tradition rich of a history as anybody. You haven't won a title in 2 decades, and that's the only reason that y'all don't get that respect. And I'm not saying that as a knock. It's just people are trendy and it's short memory. What have you done for me lately? And I mean, let's be honest, it's been the SEC's world ever since kind of the Big 12 lost its glory there, as you talked about. But I mean,
well, the problem was anytime they saw OU when SEC teams played them, it was Lincoln Riley teams with no defense in the playoff.
True. That's a good point.
To them, of course, they forget about us sweeping Tennessee in the home and home. They forget about us beating Auburn in the bowl game.
Sugar Bowl.
They forget about us beating Alabama in the bowl game. They forget about those things. But when we go against, 2019 LSU at full force, yeah, I get it. It's going to happen.
Yeah. No offense, but when they posted I think they posted a 7.5 point spread on that game for LSU and OU that year in the semifinals, and I was very, very eager beaver to get on that one. I'll just say
that's insane.
Yeah, they were just so good. I mean, it's not a knock on y'all. They were incredible. Really, 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 really did good.
Our year was Baker's senior year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Lincoln took it from us. That damn squib kick and taking the ball out of Baker's hands late. Lincoln just doesn't know how to play with a lead. But yeah, that was the year. I think so for me, seeing Baker on that podium, that's the quickest way to get me to be like, man, that puts me in a bad mood more than anything. Is if there's any Sooner that we wanted to have a national championship, it was Baker Mayfield. And now you're seeing that in pros. It's like there's nobody we would rather have a Super Bowl than Baker Mayfield. But it's like seeing that and seeing him get emotional about it being the end, like that's tough. What is that version for Texas fans? Like what's Texas fans' version of that, I should say?
Are you trolling right now because we don't have anyone in the NFL to root for and to
No. Like the emotional, like the one moment you think of where it's like that's the guy that deserved it. That's the guy that came so close. Like, who's that for you guys? Like, is there a singular moment? Like, was there one was it when he went down, got hurt, like in 09, like, or
I mean, that's a great question. Thank you. I mean, if you're just like looking at one moment, one guy, I mean, it's really hard considering the last, 12 years or 13 years that we've had before these last two. It's hard not to take Colt, as we haven't had a lot of guys where they have a ton of success and you get uber attached. And I'm not saying that a level of success. Go ahead.
Right.
I'm not saying the level.
Sense to me, right?
Yeah, I mean, Colt's injury is tough. For me, I mean, you're talking about like if you can visualize a scene or a picture from the past. Like for me, watching Colt McCoy in 2008 when we lost to Tech, and him on the sidelines just kind of confused. He just absolutely stunned. I think about that one a lot because I think that, early in the game, we have Quan Cosby go down on that one on the first series of the game, and Quan and Shipley they were a big 1-2 punch at wideout. Jordan Shipley drops a deep post route on either the first or second series and would have been a touchdown. But it's touch overthrown too. But it's tough, man, because we just haven't really been in a ton of those spots to where I'm just like looking and I'm like, man, he really that was his, that was his moment. For me, if you want the all-time like biggest moment for me, I like as far as feeling for players, it's Major Applewhite. I think that he was robbed in the Chris Sims situation, and being a pretty small and OP guy myself, I had a lot of love for the heart that Major had, and I was a child, man, a little dude, but I still understood the difference and passion that he played with, and then what Chris Sims played with. Chris Sims was a bit of a robot. Obviously everybody knows this. They know it was great unless we played you guys, or it was the 2001 Big 12 championship game. I used to make
did I may have this stat mixed up. Did he ever throw a touchdown against us?
So I've wondered about it. Obviously didn't in 2001. Y'all beat us 14-3. And then in 2002, we did put up 24, but 7 of those were off a Rod Babers INT return for a touchdown. So you're talking about 2 offensive touchdowns for Texas in that 2002 game. One of them, if one of them came by Sims, that was it. But I don't know. That's actually shocking because I remember a lot about those games.
The lore is that he threw more touchdowns to Oklahoma than he did against Oklahoma. I think that's the lore. Like that's the joke around here.
I mean, I wouldn't be terribly surprised, but yeah, he was robbed. I mean, Major, it pissed me off too when you talk about the 2001 Big 12 championship game and Chris Sims, that he either has 4 or 5 turnovers in the first half, not the game, the first half. And we go down, score on Colorado really, really easily. I think we played them earlier in 2001. We played them on my birthday, in October. Yeah, Gary Barnett, Chris Brown, Bobby Purify. They had a great run game. But we beat them 42-7 on my birthday, and then we get them in the Big 12 championship game, go down, score easily. I believe we hold them to a 3-and-out, start to drive the ball down the field again. Chris throws a pick. Might have been a pick 6. I want to say he had two of his turnovers were returned for touchdown. One definitely was. Another one probably set up a really short field. But yeah, man, we're down 20 plus at halftime. Major comes in. We're down 36-30, and we're about to get the ball back with about 3 minutes left in the game, and we roughed the kicker at midfield on a punt while getting the ball back, having a chance to go. And obviously, this story. If we win that game, we're going to go play Miami in the 2001 national championship game. We were going to get driven. Like, let's be real. Like, we weren't beating Miami. Dude, pain train. Absolutely no chance that anybody outside of Miami, which they lost a game too. Did they lose to Florida State that year?
That sounds right. They weren't undefeated.
Yeah, which is, man. I used to love watching Miami and Florida State at 11 a.m. and then this is early 2000s, and it would lead into Texas and OU at 2:30. I mean, you're talking like 4 of the top always top 7 or 8 programs. I used to just love it, man. I'd get pissed when Florida State would hit field goals.
That's when we scheduled our home and away with Florida State. It was like right after that title.
Yeah, it makes sense. Shout
That's
out Bob.
the big matchups, though, is because you're like, are they going to be any good? Like, when we scheduled Miami, we played them in 06, 07, I think, or 07, 08, one of the two, because I was a freshman at OU in 07. I think we hosted them that year. But anyways, it's like we scheduled them, and we were like, man, they were a top team. Florida State was a top team, and they were good when we played them. But, like, it wasn't like,
no.
You know, we've got Michigan on the schedule now. Who knows what they're going to be like? I mean, they clearly took a step back. I mean, they're probably a top 20 team maybe right now. But, like, they're not last year's Michigan. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. So it's so hard with the non-con scheduling. Like, you try and do your best and schedule big-time opponents. Like, Tennessee was pretty good whenever we scheduled them. And then, I mean, it was obviously that was Baker's kind of arrival, but it's just tough. So it's nice when the non-con actually lives up to it. And it's like, okay, not only is it a good program, but, like, we're dealing with, like, a top 5 matchup.
Oh, yeah. And I remember kind of that same time period that y'all are playing, like, you know, those big schools in 2000s. I know you had the home and away with Bama back then, the early 2000s, like you talked about Miami,
Right.
Notre Dame,
yeah.
and
Crazy.
I'm always watching, you know, college football, and so I would see, you know, back then A&M is like they've got a home and home with Pittsburgh, and Larry Fitzgerald torches their asses, and then it's Coach Urban Meyer in Utah.
Yep.
And I'll never forget seeing Utah up on them like. Yeah, Alex Smith. That was the first game of their undefeated season. And seeing Alex Smith just tear them up in that. And then, gosh, there was another one in there. Who was one more out of conference series they had that was – you'd think for them, they're looking at 1-1 at worst, 2-0, but someone else that beat them up and gave them hell pretty bad. But, yeah, man, now we have all those matchups all the time. That's life in the SEC. You know, like – to think that this year, obviously Michigan is a shell of what it was last year, but to play Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma, A&M, sign me up. Like, that's the type of shit that I need in my life. Forget all that Big 12. Iowa State, love you. Yes, I called you Iowa State. Shout out Chuck effing Strong and the parody account that no longer lives. But it's not disrespect to them, man. We're up in the upper echelon, the big time. These matchups are crazy. They're crap.
Yeah. No, they're great. And it's just, again, I'm blessed to be in the situation that I am, that I get to go to all these. And it's just when the SEC move got announced, I had 3 restaurants at the time. And I said, I got to figure out a way for all these to be successful enough and independent enough to where I can travel to every single SEC game. Now,
yeah,
I took the weird way, but I'm still going to go.
Hey, you're doing great, man. I definitely need to get some reports back. I can't wait to hear about Tennessee next week or 2 weeks and how that all goes. It's going to be a scene, man. That's the big SEC open. It's a week before we open the SEC play. All eyes are going to be on you guys.
Just got to win, baby.
Just win. All right, Trav, I'm going to let you get out of here, brother. You got anything else you'd like to bring up or say before you bounce?
I do want to bring up, you rep your hat. This is the one, the OU shirt. This is like a double knit, old school vintage buttonless polo.
Yeah, it looks a little vintage, yeah.
Shop Double Team, good buddies of mine. So Reddy, Redi, this awesome Albanian kid, lives here in Oklahoma. But him and his sister Angie started this clothing brand, Shop Double Team. It's awesome stuff. I'm a big fan of wearing, like, sure, I like the OU logo, but, like, I'm not the one to buy, like, the OU tennis shoes with the OU, like, actual logo on it or anything like that. Like, I always like to wear, like, crimson Jordans or, a crimson shirt with something. So they make some good shirts that aren't covered in OU logos necessarily, but it's like, okay, that's another shirt, you know what I mean? So
yeah. Shout
out Shop Double Team. They are awesome. My Lucky Boomer hat that I wear that's got the slot machine on the front of it, the kind of gold inlay. They do awesome stuff. So shout out those folks. And shout out University Traditions. I got a lot of their stuff. So, yeah, other than that, appreciate everybody in the chat. Make sure and subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Support my boy Ghost here. Hardest working man in podcasting right now. I feel like we're wrapping up because he's probably got 4 other shows back to back to back. He's a marathon man. But and again, appreciate everybody in the comments, even Coach Snark, even Ingrid.
There you go.
Especially Dante, all the folks. So appreciate y'all for coming in. For the OU fans out there, and for the Texas fans that have a bit of a sense of humor, you can get the horns down apple. You guys can just turn it upside down, and then there you go. You're all set.
There you go.
That's what it is. You need to get a bottle and then take a picture of you taking it to the head to get the horns right side up. There you go.
It's a hell of a salesman this guy is right here, but take him up on it. That's a great deal. It's a cool bottle, and like you said, no cinnamon there, apple.
Hey, you'll like this. You'll like this. Can you read the UPC code right there?
It's blurry.
Ah,
I can't. I can see. No, I can't.
I'll read it. So UPC code has 2 different, 5 different numbers. It's 00034.
Christ.
00030.
I can see all the zeros. I just couldn't make out the others.
3430 UPC code. So,
well,
into the details, baby.
1 month from today, and hopefully we make our own. Well, not a month from today, but we have a score 1 month from today to start putting on our own bottles. Maybe I'll get on that. D, your bet is locked in. It's noted. We've got a wager on the Red River. Travis, you are a legend, brother. Thank you for being here, for hanging out with me for a while. Shout out to you, Kyle, as well. Appreciate you joining. Rob, if you ever hear this, love you, buddy. Can't wait to have you back. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Trav is awesome. Go subscribe to this video, go like, and go support Trav any way you can. Have a sense of humor, and he will be at the top of your list of favorite Sooners. I promise you that. But all right, Trav, anything else, brother?
Nothing. See you guys.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night. There you go.